opposed to shades of gray, thinking informed false dilemmas, splitting involves using terms like always, every, or never when this is neither true nor equivalent to the truth. So an example of polynomial thinking is when an admired person makes my the admiration is turned into overgeneralization, making hasty generalization from insufficient experiences and evidence. Example: a person is lonely and often spends most of her time at home. Her friends come for dinner and meet with people. She feels it is useless to try to meet people. No one really could like her. Filtering, focusing in targeted elements of a situation to the exclusion of the positive. Also, the brain's tendency to filter out information which does not conform to already held beliefs. Example: after receiving comments about a work presentation, a person focuses on a single critical comment and leaves what went well enough alone. Disqualifying the positive, discounting positive events. For example, a person upon being congratulated chalks up half the congratulations to flattery and says, whether out of modesty or doubt, that it wasn't that good. Jumping to conclusions. Reaching preliminary conclusions, usually negative, from little if any evidence. Mind reading. Inferring a person's possible or probable, usually negative thoughts from their behavior and nonverbal communication. Taking precautions against the worst reasonably suspected or some other preliminary conclusion without asking the person. Example: a student assumes the readers of their paper have already made up their mind concerning its topic and therefore writing the paper is a pointless exercise. Fortune telling, predicting negative outcomes of events. For example, being convinced of failure before a test when the student is in fact prepared. Magnification and minimization. Given proportionally greater weight to a perceived failure, weakness, or threat, or lesser weight to a perceived success, strength, or opportunity, so the weight differs from that assigned to the event or thing by others. This is common enough in the normal population to popularize idioms such as make a mountain out of a molehill. In depressed clients, often the positive characteristics of other people are exaggerated and negative characteristics are understated. Catastrophizing, giving greater weight to the worst possible outcome, however unlikely, or experiencing a situation as unbearable or impossible when it is just impossible. Emotional reasoning, pursuing that negative feelings express the true nature of things and experiencing reality as a reflection of emotionality linked thoughts. Something is true solely based on a feeling. For example, I feel think that I am stupid or boring, therefore I must be. Or feeling that fear or flying in planes means planes are a very dangerous way to travel. Or concluding that impulsiveness is leaving one's house due to being overwhelmed by the prospect of things. Should statement. Doing or expecting others to do what they morally should or ought to do, irrespective of the particular case the person is faced with. This involves conforming strenuously to ethical categorical imperatives, which by definition always apply, or to hypothetical imperatives, which imply which apply in that general type case. Albert Ellis termed this masturbation. For example, an example of a should statement cognitive distortion is after a performance, a concert pianist believes he or she should not have made so many mistakes, or while waiting for an appointment, thinking that the service provider should be on time and feeling bitter and resentful as a result. Labeling and mislabeling. A more severe type of overgeneralization, attributing a person's actions to their character instead of some accidental attribute. Rather than assuming the behavior to be accidental or extrinsic, the person assigns a label to someone or something that implies the character of that person or thing. Mislabeling involves describing an event with language that has a strong connotation of a person's evaluation of the event. An example of labeling is instead instead of believing that you made a mistake, you believe that you are a loser because only a loser would make that kind of mistake. Or someone who made a bad first impression is a jerk in the absence of some more specific cause. For example, mislabeling. A woman who places her children in a daycare center is abandoning her children to strangers because the person who says so highly values the bond between mother and child. Personal, personalization, cognitive distortion. Attributing personal responsibility, including the resulting praise or blame, for events over which a person has no control. For example, a mother whose child is struggling in school blames herself entirely for being a bad mother because she believes that her deficit parenting is responsible. In fact, the real cause of her child's failure may be something else entirely. Blaming, the opposite of personalization, holding other people responsible for the harm they cause due to sin, especially for their intentions or neglect, infliction of emotional distress on them. For example, a spouse blames their husband or wife entirely for marital problems instead of looking at his or her own part in the problem. Fallacy of change, relying on social control to obtain cooperative actions from another person, always being right, cognitive distortion, prioritizing self-interest over the feelings of another person. And those are all the cognitive distortions